Horrible little git. Insecure, Catholic, frightened of most things, frightened of kids, didn't like to fight, always getting picked on, four-eyed, smelly garlicky wop. That's what I remember being called at school, which is why I have no problem calling people papadums or frogs, or I don't care if we're not supposed to. I had a girlfriend, she was my papadum. Her dad used to say, "You've gone beyond a papadum." I said, "Certainly have." And so as a kid, I grew up in an Italian family, and we weren't supposed to speak Italian because it's not. And I remember my grandmother calling me Stanca Piang, which is like, she said, "Look, here comes white blood." What? She'd say it in Italian as if, what's the matter? But I love my grandmother. So
why aren't you clinically obese if you're Italian? Because you love your food.
It might be your optician. Did you ever think of that? I did. We were discussing that at lunch when I had a massive pasta with prawns. I used to eat 2 or 3 pastas a day, particularly on the road. And again, this little woman looks after us. She's vicious. She said to me one day, "Do you really want to be eating 2 pastas a day?" I said, "Because I do. I like pasta." Silly cow, what's the matter? You know. And then I was looking at some picture came up. I said, "Oh, who's that?" She said, "Who's what?" I said, "The one with a football on his head." She said, "I told you about the pasta." That's right, the pastas are gone. And from then, I like being lean. I've always liked being lean. And I don't understand this thing. You're not allowed to say that some people are fat, and yet anybody sees me and they go, "Oh, God, oh, you're so thin. You're so fat," but I can't say it. Go away. I like being thin. I can't help it. I like being thin.
Do you think your success ultimately is down to the fact that you're a great singer or a big personality? Because I've had this conversation before.
It's not a singer. Sorry, I know I interrupt a lot. I don't have a singing voice, but then again, nor does Mick Jagger, nor does Bono, nor does Bruce Springsteen, nor does Madonna, nor does Kylie, nor does... Most of the big acts do not have voices. We've got these noises that we make that people happen to like. And we've learned to do it. Bono being a prime example. Everyone thinks he's the saviour. No, he just learned to do frontman. He was useless at it in the beginning. I like the band Muse immensely. I think that if they'd have been around in the 70s, we'd have all got floored by them, I'm afraid. One thing I think about that they don't have, they can't speak to an audience. They'll go, hey, Wembley. Oh, geez, I don't want to say it in the mic. Someone start a tune or something, you know. But I've learned to do the other stuff. It's just various ways. So it's like when, what's his name, does the X Factor. He says he's looking for the X Factor. No, he's not. He makes sure if he sees the X Factor, he puts it out. So they have to sing round it. Me, got no voice, better sing the melody because the song's going to win. And I just want to sing, and I just make a noise. And I've learnt to use it. Simple.
The energy within your concerts are totally unique. I mean, I've seen you a couple of times. I wish I could see you in a smaller venue these days because that would be really fun. For you, how is it playing these big B&Qs? I mean, where you can't see the back?
Being honest, I'm not really happy with that. It's a tricky thing. Being in a band, you need this bigger, more ego-looking stuff. The bigger it looks, the better. However, when you get past, and then possibly sometimes even venues like Birmingham or Wembley, our arenas in this country, that there's a certain amount of detachment. When we went back into the theatres in about 10 or 12 years ago, I thought, what a great idea. Now can't get out of the things, and they're hard work in this country. But there is something about looking up like that and catching, and you see somebody's eye, and they know I'm looking at them. They see my diddle eye moving around, they see the bald spot, whatever. They can see me look at Rick and laugh. Whereas if somebody's 25 rows back in Birmingham, he's not going to see me look at Rick like that, unless it's on a screen, and then it's a split second behind it. So ideally, I suppose, 5,000 to 7,000 people. After that, starts to get. But, you know, those three, there was this gig in Carcassonne we did at a castle a couple of years ago. My God, it was wonderful. And there's a certain thing about the way the audience is sat, you know, each one of them can see. I'm dribbling, look. And sometimes that's
Is that because you're looking at me, or what is it?
It partially is looking at you. It's the way you sat, love, honest.
I'm just too fat to get my legs under the chair, that's why. And what about going down Las Vegas Boulevard and hearing you, or driving through Paris and hearing you, or being in Singapore and hearing you? There are so few people in the world who have that. Does that ever become normal?
Yes and no. I mean, you go, oh, that's good, isn't it? And then other times you say, well...
Do you see it as you, or is it somebody else?
It's been that long now that it's just, well, good. So it's playing, or you actually think, oh, a bit of PRS. Wonder how many times that's played this week. You don't know. I'm being truthful. It's not, you know, you can't suddenly go, oh, there I am, you know. It's just, we're lucky to be on there. I didn't know they liked us. Yeah,
do you think that's why you're here? Because you don't do that? Those who do get involved in that ego and sycophants, it just goes to your head and then ruins the whole thing.
Yeah, for me, I can see it in their eyes. With respect, and I shouldn't be saying this, Mariah Carey, having a look in her eyes, she's gone. She's got a fantastic voice. She doesn't use it anymore. She dances around the note, like we said. Or People begin to believe it. When I was younger, and let's say Michael Jackson, he apparently did 45 million albums on Thriller around the world. If he did that in the USA alone, it would mean that roughly 220 million people didn't buy it. Oh, God. There's a reality. Most people didn't like Jackson, the biggest thing there is. So where the Status Quo lie in all this? About 5-6 million people around the world. There's 6.5 billion people on this planet. So most of the people can't stick you. And I got used to that many, many years ago. And I often say that 95% of this business is BS. The other 5% is BS. It has to be. It's show. If we actually let the people back in...
Let me do the maths. 95% of it is BS.
Yeah,
right?
And the other 5%...
It's BS.
So it's 100%.
Wow.
It's show business. It's telling you that, and we'll go, yep, show business, and then expect it to be real. It's show business, and I sometimes have a problem with that. Most times don't.
I better let you go. Thank you very much.
Any longer? Why won't you speak? It's because there's a microphone going.
I don't want to be.
That's it. Now she's ruined it. There, look, see.
Your people are dragging you away. It's
Yes,
been a
I
real
know.
honour. Can we do this again sometime?
I would
I've
love
really
to.
enjoyed it.
I would love to.
Francis Rossi's new album's out now. It's called One Step at a Time. And your time of life, it's a good advice, really, isn't
I
it?
know. That's why I thought it was an ironic title. It's a bit late now, Mush.
Real honour meeting you. And a true legend. Francis Rossi's new album, One Step at a Time, is in your stores now. Good to meet you.
Thank you, sir.